Alright guys, sorry I haven't uploaded a video for the last few weeks. Basically I've been having such a crap time with golf that I've been about this close from just selling my clubs and packing up completely.
Boo-hoo. Boo-hoo-hoo.
But anyway, let's not worry about that. Today I want to talk about consistency and why we are all so inconsistent when it comes to golf.
Fucked and drank all night, acted all alright, had no need to fight tonight.
Now, before we get into it, I want you to do something for me, and that is to pause this video, and down below in the little comments thing below, I want you to write down your handicap, what your best round this year was, your best score this year, and also your worst round. So go and do that now. You'll find out why in a minute. Go on, go and do it. Yes, you. Go and do it now. Go on. I know you're still watching. Go, pause, go and do it, then come back.
Fucked and drank all night, acted all alright, had no need to fight tonight.
Done? Right. If you have done it, good. If you haven't, pause it now and do it now. We're going to carry on. So my handicap at the moment is, well, it's now 6 after the last competition a couple of days ago. I'm off 5.5. So back up to 6. Quality. But yeah, so handicap 6, best round. I'm only counting competition rounds for me. Because I've played so many rounds, I feel like I've played enough comps to be able to sort of still have a good range. But if you've only played a few comps, then you know your best round outside of comp, worst round, whatever. My best round this year is 72, and my worst round is an 87. Okay, so I also asked people on Twitter for their best and worst rounds of the year. I've got best 71 there. That's before I decided to do it as only competition rounds. If you don't follow me on Twitter, go and follow me. That's my handle there, at McGarr. Come up as Scratch Golf. So yeah, this guy here, best round 76, worst 75, playing off 18. Best 74, worst 94, playing off 12. This guy said that my worst round is his best, so that makes his best 87. And his worst is 105, playing off 20. This guy here, best round 84, worst 106, playing off 21. Best round 75, worst round 88, playing off 6. Best 77, worst 89. Best 76, worst 96. 82 to 96, 90, 127. And yeah, that was it. So why is it that we can go from Lord of the Links one day to Sir Shanks-a-Lot the following day without having any idea what's changed and why that's happened? So I'll tell you why. It's because golf is bloody hard. There's the fridge. So I'm at my laptop. This is my little desk in the roomy thing. Anyway, as I'm recording this video, Dustin Johnson is #1 in the world, right? His lowest round so far this year is 64. He's had a couple of them. His worst round was a 78. So that's a 14 shot difference, which is only 1 shot less than the difference in my best and worst round, 72 and 87. And you might say, yeah, but Dustin Johnson's not the most consistent tour pro on the circuit. Yeah, he's world #1, but you know, he has really good weeks where he absolutely blitzes the field. And then he has weeks where he's off on one and just, you know, isn't in contention. So who is consistent? Jordan Spieth is pretty much one of the most consistent performers, you'd say. His lowest round this year was a 63 at the Sony Open. His worst round was a 77 at the Shell Houston Open. So again, that's a 14 shot difference between best and worst. You're starting to see a bit of a pattern here.
Play these little games, acting all okay, today.
What I'm trying to say is, don't be surprised if there is a 14 or 15 shot swing between your best and worst rounds. I mean, if you're a high handicapper, it would probably be even bigger, but it would be the same kind of difference in percentage terms. So if your best round is 90 and your worst round is 110, that's obviously a 20 shot difference, but it's the same percentage as Jordan Spieth going from a 63 to a 77. It's not even uncommon for those players, the world's best players, to have a sort of 8, 10 or even 12 shot swing from one day to the next. So I remember writing an article last year for Today's Golfer about consistency and what have you, and Jordan Spieth shot a 74 in the opening round of the RBC Heritage. The following day he shot 62. Now obviously that's impressive in the fact that he managed to bounce back and, you know, turn it around from not a great opening round, but it's not exactly what you'd call consistent performance, and it wasn't like the weather was horrendous on the first day and lovely on the second. It was basically the same course, same conditions. The only thing that changed was him. So players like DJ and Spieth, obviously they're the best players in the world. They practice every day, they've got the best equipment, the best facilities, the best coaches, the best personal trainers, the best mental guru guys. You know, they've got everything. They are designed to be the best golfers in the world every single day. So if their consistency ranges by 14 shots, what hope have the rest of us got to try and be more consistent than that? So basically, tour pros are actually no more consistent than the rest of us. They're just better. They've got the same size swing between good and bad. It's just that their good and bad is here, whereas our good and bad is sort of here or here. So you need to accept that there's always going to be quite a big difference between your best and worst shots and your best and worst rounds. So if you're a 28 handicapper, one week you might go out and shoot 93, and the next week you might shoot 110. If you play off 12, you might shoot 78 tomorrow, go out a couple of days time and shoot 93. Even if you're a scratch golfer, your best round might be 66, but you could easily follow it with an 80 the following day. That's just golf. And the more you beat yourself up about the bad rounds, the fewer of the good rounds that you're going to have. If a footballer scores a hat-trick on Saturday and then, you know, he has a game on the Wednesday night and doesn't score, he doesn't sort of start beating himself up and saying, oh God, I've lost it, I scored a hat-trick on Saturday and now I haven't scored, like what's gone wrong, you know, I've lost my technique, like I can't kick it anymore. You just accept that that's the way it goes. You're not going to score a hat-trick in every match. So why is it in golf, when we have a good round, rather than someone just being happy about it, we get really annoyed and saying, oh, why can't I do that every time? Well, it's sport. In no sport at all do you manage to do your absolute best every time. Even in sports where the conditions are sort of basically, you know, perfectly closed, like say darts for instance, you know, darts are not worried about the wind, there's no dodgy lies, everything's exactly the same every time, but they don't get a 9-darter every time they step up to the oche. Or what's another one, 10-pin bowling. You're not relying on the weather being good or somebody passing you the ball or, you know, your opponent's not tackling you. It's just you, a bowling ball, a lane and 10 pins. Nothing changes. If you're that good, there's no reason why you can't knock them all down every time, but nobody does that. And ultimately it'd be pretty boring if they did. I mean, if every time you went 10-pin bowling you just knocked down 10 pins every single time and everyone you were playing with did exactly the same, you'd say, well, this is easy, isn't it? This is boring. Should we go and do something else? Should we go and play golf? Obviously there's a part of me that thinks, oh, I wish every time I went out to play golf I could shoot my best score. But if I went out and shot 72, or even if it was 70 every week, you know, where would be the excitement in that? If there was no range, no good and bad, it would just be boring, wouldn't it? Now there are a few things you can do to help you be a bit more consistent, and the biggest one I would say by far, and I spoke to Drew about this yesterday. Drew, by the way, is the PGA Pro who I played the 18-hole match with. If you haven't seen that, then go and check it out. It's my most recent video. And it's basically the pre-shot routine. So Drew does quite a lot of playing lessons, and obviously I play with quite a few different amateurs of different levels. And one thing that we've both noticed is that a lot of people don't go through the same routine on every shot, which seems crazy really, because you're trying to be consistent, you're trying to produce your best results in every shot. So why wouldn't you give yourself the best possible chance by going through the same routine? If you watch tour pros, they will go through the same routine, whether it's the first shot of a pro-am or, you know, a key shot to try and win a major. Because doing the same things before the shot gives you the best chance of doing basically the same sort of things that you want to do during the shot. And also it means that when you get to those big pressure shots, they feel a bit more normal because you're just going through the same routine as you would with any other shot. If you have no pre-shot routine normally, you know, you just walk up, grab a club and hit it, which might sound crazy, but some guys I play with, that is what they do. They're so focused on playing fast, they don't worry about any of that stuff, and then obviously they end up hitting it all over the place, which means that they're not actually playing that fast because they're then hitting more shots, looking for balls, etc, etc. Anyway, that's a separate topic. But what my point is, if you're one of those guys and then suddenly you're playing in a competition and you're doing all right, and then you start having like a really long routine, you think, oh God, I've got to keep doing well, you know, I'm in with a chance here. Then in your mind you're thinking, hold on a minute, I'm taking this much more seriously, you tense up, everything changes and you're just going to get worse. Just work out a pre-shot routine that works for you and stick with it on every single shot, no matter whether it's a friendly mess around or an important competition, whether you're playing well or you're playing badly, just stick with it and keep doing it. I'll show you my pre-shot routine now. Like with all this stuff, I'm not saying this is the greatest pre-shot routine that anybody's ever seen. It's definitely not, it's pretty simple, but it's just an idea of what a pre-shot routine looks like. Okay, so I walk up to my ball and then obviously I put my bag down, and to be honest, by the time I put my bag down, 9 times out of 10, I've pretty much worked out the kind of shot that I'm going to hit. I'll kind of have a pretty clear idea in my mind of if I'm going to try and hit a draw or a fade, you know, a high shot, a low shot, land it short, throw it all the way to the pin, that kind of stuff. But when I get to my ball, I'll have a look at the lie, because on the odd occasion, you might have a certain shot in mind, but then when you get to your ball and see how it's actually lying, you might think actually that kind of shot is not going to be suitable for the sort of lie you've got. You know, if it's sat right down, you might think, well, I'm not going to be able to play a high floaty shot or whatever. I'll then use my laser to get the yardage. Often I just want to find out the yardage to the pin, but occasionally if there's something, say, short of a green, like a pond or a particularly threatening bunker, I might sort of laser the back of that so that in my mind I know exactly how far I've got to carry it to get over that trouble. Or on certain tee shots, I might laser a bunker if I want to either carry it or to lay up short of it. Same for a pond, or obviously if it's a dog leg, I might sort of laser some trees at the back of the dog leg and then think, okay, I need to take 20 yards off that to make sure that I don't run out of fairway. So once I've got the yardage, I will check the wind, just grab a few blades of grass and sort of see which way the wind's blowing, because obviously that might have an impact on, you know, what club I need to hit it that certain yardage. So I'll then choose my club. I'll take a practice swing stood next to my ball. I prefer doing it next to my ball because then obviously if you've got like an uneven lie, you'll get the same sort of feeling with your practice swing, whereas if you take your practice swings sort of behind the ball, you might be standing on a sort of different type of terrain. I'll then step back behind the ball, pick an exact target that I'm aiming for and try to visualise my shot. And then I'll step into my ball, I'll put the club behind it with just my sort of right hand on the base of the grip, and then put my grip on, check that I'm aiming where I think I'm aiming, and then I pull the trigger. So find one that works for you, and like I say, the most important thing is to stick with it. Anyway, that brings us to the end of another probably horribly substandard video. I'm going to go and, well, first things first, cut the grass. Needs a little mow. And then I'm going to go and do some practice, because even though I am having a horrible time and basically hate golf at the moment, I realise that I'm not going to get any better at it sitting here moaning about it. So yes, I'll go and practice, see if I can get over this slump, which is massively just a mental slump. I'm not playing that bad, but for whatever reason my head has been struggling with it at the moment. I don't want to have another breakdown on camera, so I won't go into it now. You go and do what you need to do, work out your pre-shot routine, cut your grass, whatever, and I will see you in the next video. Oh, by the way, since my last video, it's been a couple of weeks, but I've now gone past 500 subscribers, so obviously the key to growth is to not upload videos. But no, thank you for subscribing if you have. If you haven't, please do. It makes me happy when I get the little email to say that somebody subscribed, and obviously it doesn't cost anything, so it's a lovely thing to do. Yeah, keep doing that, and I'll see you next time.